This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what's on tap?
Oh man, John, it's like I was not looking forward to this podcast because, well, it's like when I realized that, I'm going to talk about the series I've been like talking about for like several years now. It's like, it's like I'm going to actually go and reread it, and that does not sound like fun. And that series is Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. Now, longtime readers will know that I've been reading a lot of his series over the years. Specifically, starting with Flowers of Evil, the story of this one vanilla guy who gets like drawn into this like life of extreme emotion and just stuff that he wouldn't actions he wouldn't consider doing by this one weird girl who may have been suffering from some kind of like mental illness. And while I thoroughly enjoyed that series, by its end, it's like Oshimi's stuff has a does it just have a familiar thread to it. Like just about a guy who just hey, he gets it's like a vanilla guy, like he's just like living a normal life, and then he gets entranced into other stuff by this girl who just is like outside of the norm, like, and this is seen in other series he's done, such as it's like good good goodbye Marty, and also happiness. It's like some other series I've also talked about. It's like on this podcast as well. So, but Blood on the Tracks, the difference this time is that the girl luring our main character into a an unconventional life is his mother. It's it's our protagonist is one Seichi Usabe, and his wife is his mother is Seiko. And while she's introduced as a fairly conventional, it's caring mother and all, the first volume is unique in the sense that it kind of almost reads like self-parody for for Oshimi. It's just the fact that that something's going to go wrong, or there's going to be something weird happening, and it's just kind of that tension just kind of feels like, oh my god, what's this twist can be here? They can't be vampires because he already did that in Happiness. But so are they aliens? Are they cannibals? Are they serial killers? What's the twist here? Well, we finally find out that at the end of the first volume, when Seiko pushes Seichi's cousin off off of a cliff after he's been teasing Seichi. So the immediate threat of tension for subsequent volumes basically just comes from what's Seichi gonna do? It's his mother just killed someone, and she's almost pretending it's, oh my god, it's he fell off the the cliff by himself. Seichi, please go tell your your aunt about this. And it's all about just saying, Seichi just dealing with this weird toxic relationship with his mother, about how she sees things and how he sees things, and just where are things going to go from here. This it's it when I was faced with the prospect of rereading this, I thought, oh, okay, so yeah, it's oh my god, it's this is the thing I was looking forward to, because basically volumes 1 through 12 are one story. Basically, Seichi dealing with the fact that his mother is a killer, and how she views her life with Seichi and his father. It's and it's really kind of, and like it kind of trades in like really uncomfortable like drama. Basically, just like basically like like her forcing like her own worldview on Seichi. It's like, and just like trying to like like dominate him. It's like in her own way, in a way that like advances like her like her like her perspective more than anything else. And when I thought about rereading this, I was like, oh god, man, it's like I just remember like how uncomfortable it was, just like experience like everything like in volumes 1 through 12 from Seichi's point of view, like someone who was just like so passive, so milk toast, someone who just like just like letting life um like just push him along, like, and not have him take any like direct control of things as well. It's it's uncomfortable, it's painful, and it also kind of reminds me of another series I talked about a couple years a couple years back. No, no, it was last year. No, 2 years ago. Um, Oku, by Fumi Yoshinaga. Because I was just like like dreading reading the bits where it's like it's like where where it's being one of his protagonists at the time just like lost and just kept losing, and everyone just like kind of had to deal with her dominating like personality. That's kind of how I felt with rereading volumes 1 through 12 of Blood on the Tracks, and it also comes with hey, the great misreading experience of 2023, where I realized that, oh my god, I had actually forgotten to read one particular volume of the series. And while rereading volume 9 in context, like like after having read on volumes 10 and 11, yeah, it's like it did add some context to Seichi's experience, like him understanding just what his mother had done to him when he was like 3 years old, and the motif of the like him experiencing the dead cat early on. It's like it's like it's just like really painful and uncomfortable, and that kind of like holds true for like my experience like for volumes 1 through 12. While reading these volumes like initially was compelling in the way that like I was wondering like what's gonna happen next. Yeah, this is awful. This is like painful. Like seeing like Seichi like succumb to his like mother's influence, whether or not it was right or not. Like it was still like unconventional in the sense that like okay, well, I haven't seen this done before. Where's it gonna go? And the answer was, oh, just really ruining his life and all. And so when it came time to like reread this series, it's like, oh wow, it's like I'm just gonna like go ahead and just like skim through this because it's just so painful, so uncomfortable, and just oh my god. It's like, did I want to reread this? No. It's like, did I enjoy rereading it? No, not really. Especially when we realize that like Seiko's when goal through this whole arc is like through these first 12 volumes, like, hey, I don't want to be a mother anymore. I just want to like live for myself and just like like stop being a mother to this to the main character. Basically, our main character is just like a sorry, sad character who just like is been convinced to live his existence for his mother, and when she just basically denies that, he just has to like live with the experience of it's like of like just like suffering for his like like his mother's love that like even though she says she gave to him, like was not actually a thing at all, and now he's just gonna have to like accede to like it's like the Japanese like judicial systems like determination, because hey, it turns out that when he um even though like Seiko like killed Seichi's cousin, well, it turns out that, like when Seichi just realizes, like, oh my god, I can't remember what actually happened because, like, I'm so enthralled to my mother's wishes. Well, they're able to, like, pin the. Well, no, he actually did wind up ultimately killing his cousin, like, because his cousin didn't die. He was just thrust into a comatose state. Then he got better, a little better, but then he got better in a way that was portrayed in the comics as a slasher movie type thing, where he's just like, "Hey, Seichi, come out and play and all." It's just like, my God, this is like awful. It's like this is like it's like awful, like slasher movie stuff where you just like know how it's gonna turn out, and you're saying like, don't go in that room, but like Seichi does this, and it's like, oh god, why do we got to do this? Why do we got to see this? It's painful, like familiar stuff, and even though Oshimi does have some like really good like visual stylization that that dramatizes Seichi's like mindscape at this time, it especially just he's trying to like really force a familiar plot point that we all know was going to happen, and that's just like painful more than anything else. That's yeah, it's like basically what I'm saying is rereading volumes 1 through 12 was just like kind of more like annoying and aggravating and just depressing more than anything else. Rereading this, I kind of felt like, oh, I'm just gonna like okay, I'm gonna try reading this, and it's like, then it's like imagine me just like speeding through all the pages as fast as I could because it's like I just didn't feel like your reading was adding anything to my understanding of this series. That's how it was. But well, this is a 17 volume series, so what happens next? Well, after volume 12, we jump forward 20 years to the year of 2017 when excuse me, when Seichi, like he's like dealt with the effects of the justice system, like determining that he was responsible for his cousin's death. And he's moved to Tokyo, moved away from his father's life. It's like, and because like his dad is just like this sad like person who was just like oh my gosh, like I just wanted to be like a traditional Japanese dad, just like went to work and like drank and came home and smoked every day. But no, just so my wife is crazy and my son is just like completely enthralled to her wishes, and I so what can I do here? It's like, and he just like tries to like live his life as like supporting his son who is still there, but even though like he's not like wanting to be a part of his life anymore. But it turns but the thing is with these final volumes, with the basically volumes 1 through 12 are their own story. Volumes 13 through 17 are another story, basically with Seichi just living his own life and just in Tokyo, being part of a living a mundane existence as part of a food processing plant, and just dealing with his like dad's interactions as they happen. It's such a mundane and bland existence that it's like it's I guess it's a credit to like how Oshimi is like able to present this, that it doesn't feel boring. It's like it feels like mundane in a way that's that would do someone like Harvey Picard proud, someone who like who thrived on the on the mundanity of everyday existence, and that's and like I think that's what what these final volumes um like 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 what drives their appeal for me, because while I did my best to like skim through volumes 1 through 12, volumes 13 through 17 were actually like more compelling to me, even with the familiar eh, like plot point that hey like Seichi was eventually going to have to like encounter his like a mother at some point, because he spent all this time just trying to avoid her and just like live a mundane painless existence well, fate has other like plans in mind for him. And when he finally does encounter her, there's some interesting like visual stylization going on. Like when he recognizes her as like being oh, the mother he remembers from his youth, and seeing her as oh, it's like it's just like the mother like that did all this bad stuff to me. But even though it's 20 years later and she's a lot older, actually, even if he can't quite recognize that. But even then, it's interesting to see how Oshimi presents that, and also how like Seiichi just still kind of falls in with like okay, it's like I'm going to try and like take care of my mother with the it's like within the confines that society has prescribed to me, just in terms of like like the police contacted me and saying like, oh, your mother, we found your mother and she's wandering around. It's like, can you take care of her? It's like, sure, totally do that. And then when he finds out that his mother is in debt for her living expenses, but yes, I will pay for that as well, because that is like the least path of least resistance for me at this point. But then things get more complex, such as when he finds out that she's fallen like while like while going across a it's like a public walkway, and he has to take care of her after the it's like after she's like fallen in the hospital and like is barely responsive. It's like I said, these final five volumes, 13 through 17, basically tell a different story of just what does it take in order to like take care of your parents, like when they've become like frail and infirm. It's like, and that there's no one else to look after them except for whatever comfort you have to offer them as well. I am not a young person, and this is like something that is like like more my the front of my mind than it was when I started doing this podcast over 15 years ago. So it's like I understand what Seichi is like going through here, and I guess that makes like these final volumes more relatable, like to me, especially like in the final volume when the inevitable happens and things play out. It's like as you'd expect, like there's the expected falling action, the familiar like hey, it's like thing things have ended, and like our protagonist has yet to like try to decide how he's going to live his life. And it's goes back to like I was talking about with Oku. It's like like I was like uncomfortable with like rereading like the stuff that like that was painful to me for that series. Well, it's like it turns out that the in the end, like our protagonist doesn't win over the person who was like done him so much wrong over the series. In the end, it's like like he's just gotta like deal with like like life as it is. Like in the end, his big bad is defeated by age and infirmity, and it's like even if that's not like necessarily like a narratively satisfying conclusion, it's I don't know, it's like maybe it's more realistic and understandable, because in the end, like Seiichi is revealed to be more comfortable with how things have turned out for him in the end. And I guess I can understand that, but it's like it's fine. Like I said, it's not necessarily satisfying. Maybe it feels like maybe this is how things would have turned out in the end. But as far as like how there it is, does that make Blood on the Tracks in the end for me as a series? I think I'm going to be like tossing this to book off in the end, because well, I think that the the final volumes do have their own like believable dramatic weight. Something like I say, Harvey Picard would have approved of in terms of their dramatic mundanity. But when I think about, am I gonna want to reread this? Like when I'm like, left to my own devices and just, like in my own retirement, I think no, because thinking about, rereading all the stuff that came before it, it's like, oh God, that just sounds painful. But it's like maybe it does have its own merit as it's like as a story about just, what do we adults do with our parents, even with like all the dramatic weight we have with them, you know, like all the issues we have with them, like over the years, whether or not it's rightly earned. It's like, how it's like it I think it's like I don't think it quite works. I mean, like I think that the mundanity of volumes 13 through 17 does like have its own weight, but what do I want to go and reread on volumes 1 through 12 to get to that point? No, no, I don't. Like if there's like a anime adaptation of this, I would hope that the people like doing it just focus on the present day adaptation of like how Seichi like deals with his mother, like in this, like in all their drama as well. So there you go. It's like both of the tracks, definitely not the best um manga I've read from Shujo Oshimi. It's not terrible, but definitely it's like has its own qualifications if you want to go ahead and read it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
So I would love to ask you, well, what are we going to be talking about next time?
Batman.
We're going to be talking about Batman. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's like Batman in a specific, like point of view and all.
Yep, that's right. Cool. All right, we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, there's everyone.